Hi, I'm Dr. Dave Janda. Welcome back to the Operation Freedom platform and our ongoing Operation Freedom Health series. This is, Pete and I have been doing this for about 2.5 years. And oh my goodness, does it upset Big Pharma, Big Medicine, Big Insurance. And that's good because what this is about is empowering you with information you will not get from Big Pharma, Big Medicine, Big Insurance. And the reason is because, well, when you're empowered, you're making your individual health care freedom decisions. And that's exactly what Big Pharma, Big Medicine, and Big Insurance do not want you to do. One of the entities that they want you to avoid at all costs is nutrition and the benefits of nutritional supplementation and how it can be the biggest bang for the buck in prevention that you'll ever have. So the title of today's presentation is You, the ND, Naturopathic Doctor, Dr. Glidden, the MD, Dr. Dave Janda, versus Big Pharma. It's my honor to introduce my very good friend and co-creator of this series that we've been doing that bothers the Big Pharma, Big Medicine, Big Insurance Syndicate so much, is Dr. Peter Glidden. Peter is a healthcare provider on the front line. He has been for several decades. And if you look at some of the comments in our previous YouTubes, you'll see that the positive comments left by many of his former patients and current patients about not only that he cares, but what he does to empower people. And he does that through his clinical practice. He also does it through his research endeavors, and he also does it through his authorship. The two books that should be the cornerstone of your medical library, it is ours, is Everybody is Sick and I Know Why, and Attempt a Cure with Holistic Medicine, both available on Amazon. And also, I encourage you to go to his website, chock full of great information, Dr. Glidden, Glidden, drglidden.com. Peter, welcome back to the Operation Freedom platform.
Thanks, Dave. We're still alive and kicking. They haven't gotten us yet.
They haven't. Much to their chagrin.
Much to their chagrin. Trying.
All right.
They haven't.
Let's talk about this battle royale that currently, and it has been going on for a long time, but it's really come to the surface over the past, let's say, and we got to be careful what we say, over the past 18 months. It's really come down to our listeners, you and me, against Big Pharma. Let's talk about the nutritional cornerstone, the foundation of what we've been talking about for over 2 years, Pete, that Big Pharma does not want discussed.
That the human body knows how to fix itself. The human body wants to fix itself. The human body is trying to fix itself all of the time. And in order to do that, it needs nutrition. It needs specifically 90 essential nutrients, 60 minerals, 16 vitamins, 12 amino acids, and 2 fatty acids, which are essential to the operation, structure, and function of the human body and are not all present, and in diminishing amounts present in the food that we eat. So it's kind of a no-brainer. The body runs out of raw materials. Things start to break. Then you become symptomatic. Then you get a diagnosis. You're in pain. You're in trouble. You're scared. You got to do something about it. So you go to the only show in town, which is the pharmaceutical rep, AKA the medical doctor, and they throw a drug at it to suppress the symptom, to manage the symptom. They don't do anything to try to figure out what caused it or to fix it or to cure it. They simply manage it with drugs and surgery and then more drugs and more surgery. And look, thank God for insulin. Mm-hmm. Thank God for lidocaine. Thank God for the sterile technique. Thank God for emergency medicine. Thank God for obstetrics, right? There's room in the world for everybody, but we haven't had a free medical market since 1912. Sure. So everybody has not been invited to the table. It's only the pharmaceutical way, or that's it. And it's been like that for 108 years, and it's a problem because there's so much that people can do on their own to build up their health so that they don't get sick. for goodness sakes. And or if they are, to give their body the raw materials it needs to attempt to fix it.
Mm-hmm.
And given the choice, most people, if you laid it out for them, said, well, okay, so we've got these doctors over here, all they can do is manage it. And we've got these doctors over here, and they're going to try to fix it. What would you rather do? Well, most people would try to fix it.
Right.
But they don't know what's what. And it's the pharmaceutical industry that's keeping everybody in the dark.
Well, and when I look at my training in medical school, medical schools are either named after endowed chairs and from drug companies or whatever it might be. They never put the plate on your table in medical school about the power of nutrition and supplements. Right. And the reason is because Big Pharma is going to the administrations of these medical schools, and anytime anybody tries to put that plate on the medical school training table, it gets pushed away. And it's Big Pharma's big arm that's pushing it away. So let's talk about how every one of our listeners, what they need to do from a nutritional standpoint to set the foundation for their body to prevent themselves from getting ill, if ill, to get better quicker, because this is the in one way it's so frustrating that here is something that could help billions of people around the world. But the good news, the silver lining, is there is something people can do. It's not like we tell people, well, bad luck. You know what? These guys got all the power, and they're influencing what people learn, and they're influencing what people do, and you don't have any say in the matter, and there's nothing you can do. We're saying something completely different, which is why they hate us, right? This is why they hate you and me, the Big Pharma. Because we're telling people, no. Okay, so they're not learning it in medical schools, right? And the table and the plate's getting pushed off the table by Big Pharma. But there are things you can do. So educate our listeners, because you're the guru in this, not just in our country but around the world. What do people need to do to enhance the built-in machine their body is in fighting off disease and also being healthy?
You got to just give it the raw materials it needs. Give it the 90 essential nutrients. And there's the best way to do that, the least expensive way to do that, and the most optimized way to do that is with the Foundation Pack that we offer at Operation Freedom Health. It provides all 90 essential nutrients in a nice synergistic recipe in formulations that the body can actually absorb, because in the final analysis, it's not what you swallow, it's what you absorb, which has everything to do with the manufacturing process behind the nutritional supplement. So when you have a combination of all 90 essential nutrients in a synergistic fashion, which is easy to absorb, well, that's a game changer. Mm-hmm. And most people, Dave, wouldn't believe, and I'm not, I have to be careful about what I say here, but most people wouldn't believe the things that myself and my colleagues have seen people recover from. Mm-hmm. Most people wouldn't believe it. One of my first experiences with this medical nutrition approach, I was going to a lecture given by Dr. Wallach, who was the founder of this nutritional supplement company. And he told the story about a woman who was in the emergency room with a failing liver. And she was given about 2 weeks to live. She was on the liver transplant list, and she was going from bad to worse. And Dr. Wallach had a radio show at the time, and the woman's husband called into the radio show. Mm. This was on the radio. This wasn't an in-person private consultation.
Right.
This was generic advice designed to, based on clinical experience and research, to give the body the raw materials that it needed to optimize the liver function. So he gave the husband advice about what to do on the radio. And it was within 2 weeks, I think it was in 7 days, the woman stabilized And within 2 weeks, she was released from the hospital, didn't need a liver transplant. And she was on her deathbed on the liver transplant list. And this was all from generic medical nutrition. I mean, I've got hundreds of stories like this. The body's ability to fix itself is so much greater than we have been led to believe. Right. This is a car that you better slam these doors and kick these tires and take this for a test drive. Because as God is my witness, you simply don't know what you're missing.
Well, and Pete, I can address this myself in a personal issue. And you know this, and maybe some of our listeners do too, but I had been diagnosed as having significant arthritis. It was adversely impacting my lifestyle. Huge. Okay? And my friends who are docs put me on prescription grade anti-inflammatory, and I was taking also some over-the-counter anti-inflammatory, and I was taking arthritis strength Tylenol, and it would help, but I was still having trouble doing chores around the house and all this other stuff. And then they wanted to put me on another right, a second pharmaceutical grade anti-inflammatory, and I was thinking about it, and I had been talking to you, and you said to me, well, how many more are you going to let them put you on before you decide to really address this issue? Right? It was kind of right. So I said, okay, but I decided I had to do it just to prove you wrong. Call me a jerk, but I was going to prove you wrong. And so I started on what you told me to do. I started on the foundation pack, and because I knew it might make a little difference, but it wasn't gonna get me. I was still gonna. Well, doggone it, Pete. As you know, in a month's time, I was taking no more extra strength Tylenol or arthritis strength Tylenol, no longer over-the-counter anti-inflammatories, no longer prescription grade anti-inflammatory. They never added. And that's been the case now for years.
I tell you, Dave, this is honest to God, right? This is two things to talk about here. Number one, this is the best kept secret in the 21st century medicine, the impact, the power, and the potential of applied medical nutrition. Number one. And number two, the thing about this is that the only reason that my profession continues to exist in such a hostile political climate, and it is hostile against everything not MD.
Big time.
The only reason that we continue to exist is because we have grassroots support. And why do we have grassroots support? Because we get results.
Yeah, that's right.
It's not a panacea cure-all for all human ills, but it's next generation, very sophisticated, science-based, clinically verified, smart therapeutic interventions that are not available through the mainstream. I mean, let's talk about it, right? So I graduated medical school 1991. When I graduated from Naturopathic Medical School in 1991, there were 4 states that were licensed to practice naturopathic medicine. 4. Now, in 2021, there are 22 states which are licensed to practice naturopathic medicine, with legislation pending in just about all the other states. But still only 22 states. Well, what does that mean? Does that mean that the laws of nature or the laws of science change when you cross a state line?
No.
Why aren't we licensed in all 50 states? Because the pharmaceutical industry, the American Medical Association, does not want the competition. And this is something that people really need to understand, because it's true. And we talk about the big bad pharmaceutical industry all the time, and it becomes such an old saw that people, I don't think, really understand how serious it is.
It is very serious.
It's a big bad voodoo daddy, and it's getting worse.
And many people say, well, this is sinister what these two are talking about. No, it's actually, well, it might be sinister, but it is the truth.
It is the truth. I mean, the Centers for Disease Control, right? These people make the policy, and they're not elected. They're appointed.
Right.
And there are no acupuncturists there. There are no chiropractors there. There are no osteopaths there. There are no Ayurvedic practitioners there. There are no naturopaths there. There are no botanical people there. There are no homeopaths there.
And I'm not sure. Pete, my experience with the CDC is I was seen in 1991, when I was down there at the behest of the Surgeon General C. Everett Koop, well, actually it was like 89, that I was seen as kind of like as someone who practiced medicine on the front line of healthcare delivery, and then I was going down there and sitting on review boards and all that kind of stuff. I was not only the outlier. I was like I was like the alien from Mars, right? Because everybody else, there were very few people that were practicing, that had any kind of input, that were practicing on the front line of healthcare delivery there.
Right. And most of the people that have administrative positions there that call the shots, once they retire from the government, where do they go to work?
Oh, big pharma, big medicine, big whatever. It's a revolving door.
Industries that they were regulating while they were having But I mean, let's put it in perspective. I'm a holist, right? I like to go to the root of everything.
Right.
In World War II, there were either three or four German pharmaceutical companies that pooled their resources together, and they bought a concentration camp.
Yeah, how special.
They did experiments on the inmates. They made them make the Zyklon B gas. That did that?
But that's not hyperbole.
Big Pharma that did
that. That was not. People say that's hyperbole. No, that's fact. Look it up. Search it. Yeah. Okay, Pete. So here's the other issue. Some people, of course, you get trolls on everything. They go, "Well, you guys are pushing something that you have on OperationFreedomHealth.com." Okay, Pete. You and I could make a boatload of money pushing a prescription grade anything, right? Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So the reason why I recommend it is because of the very positive benefit I have had, and many others that I know of have had, on this nutritional supplement side. And I don't know of a more cost-effective, more bioavailable, in other words, you take it and it gets absorbed, products than the products we have at OperationFreedomHealth.com through Longevity. Now, Pete, this is what you do. You could make a lot more money talking about prescription grade nutraceuticals, and you don't.
I don't, because this stuff is the most effective stuff I've seen.
Yeah.
And number one, and number two, it would be unethical for me not to talk about it.
That's right.
I mean, it's no different than, most people are too young to remember it, but the goiter epidemic that happened in this country decades ago, everybody had goiter. It was like a goiter belt through the Midwest, and there were thousands, tens of thousands of cases of enlarged thyroid gland. You know how they fixed it? Not with surgery.
No.
Not with, medical insurance cut rates on thyroid surgery. No. It was by putting iodine in the salt. Mm-hmm. There's one nutrient, and it fixed it. It completely fixed the problem. One nutrient. Well, guess what happens when you give the body all 90 nutrients that it needs? It's a game changer.
And
it's a big deal.
And the 90 nutrients that are absorbed, that have been found through research, extensive research, that are absorbed by the body.
So, for the people that give us crap about promoting it, they can go pound sand, number one. And number two, why don't you try it for 30 days and then call us back and talk to us and see how you feel, for goodness sakes. Again, the only reason that we are able to persist in this endeavor, in this hostile political climate, is because it works. We get results. The proof of the pudding is in the eating. And you can't sequester the truth forever. It's only a matter of time until the truth comes out. And, thank God for your platform. And honestly, for your courage, for lack of a better word, for standing up way before I knew you for all of these issues, because I can count on one hand the people who are doing this in this country.
Yeah,
one hand.
It's very discouraging. It's very discouraging. Pete, I'd like to thank you for everything you have done, are doing, and will do. the products, the foundation pack that we talked about. Look, we have a lot of free stuff at OperationFreedomHealth.com. Pete did this great video, 12 bad foods you should not eat. It's there. It's on the top of the homepage. It's free. Go to it. In all these products, we outline what's in them and why they are preferable to, if you will, going out and trying to buy $1,500 worth of groceries or whatever you're going to buy in order to try to get the nutritional amount that you're getting in these supplements for a fraction of that cost. Go to OperationFreedomHealth.com, purchase the product, does support us being able to keep doing these videos, period. We have IT expenses, the whole shooting match. That's what we use this for. Bottom line is, this is about you and Pete and me, the ND and the MD, Dave, against Big Pharma. And you know what? If you don't want to be on the team against Big Pharma, that's your choice. You're right? Your body, your choice. Best of luck. Best of luck. Pete, I'd like to thank you. Now, how can folks follow your efforts? Dr. Glidden, GLIDDEN.com. Educate our listeners at drglidden.com. And what else, other sites you have available?
Just like the paint, no relation.
Yeah.
You know, I was a house painter in college for 3 or 4 years, and with my last name with Glidden, I always turned a number of heads because it's a really prominent paint company.
The boss's kids out here. And also, again, I encourage the books. Everybody is Sick and I Know Why. An Attempt to Cure with Holistic Medicine. I believe they're also available on your website and on Amazon.
Yeah, the drglidden.com is the only place to go. All the websites that I have, all of the information is linked to that website, so check it out. There's a lot of information there, free and subscription-based. And knowledge really is power. And if you're smart enough to listen to this show, you're smart enough to understand that the stuff that you're fed through the mainstream is only a small piece of the pie. Well, on my website, I endeavor to give you the other pieces of the pie as they relate to medicine, specifically holistic medicine from the naturopathic point of view, licensed and regulated, science-based, and clinically verified. It does not get any better than this. drglidden.com.
Again, Pete, thank you for everything you have done, are doing, and will do. Thank you, folks, for joining us. Until next time, Dave Janda signing off. Dream big and dare to fail. OperationFreedomHealth.com and drglidden.com. Thanks for your time today.